Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Steven Goes to the Movies. Today I went and saw the Bollywood film Simmba. Now, I have quite a few questions that remain unanswered, probably because of my knowledge of Bollywood films is so limited, and I will have to do some more research later to answer them for myself. But I will pose them to the audience of probably 5 people as well later in the video. This movie is about a child. So it starts out the main actor as a child, and he's an orphan, and I guess they he gets recruited as sort of to be a gangster, but realizes from a very young age that he could make just as much or more money as a corrupt cop than as a gangster. So he doesn't join the gang and instead becomes a police officer. But it's very strange because he is so dedicated to being a police officer. He even, like, they show in the beginning, like early in the movie, they even show him that he has a tattoo that says police on it and all that kind of stuff, and yet he is openly corrupt about everything. So openly corrupt that, now here's the thing, this isn't the first Bollywood movie I've seen where they either reference or have corrupt cops and corrupt politicians and like all that kind of stuff. So at this point, I'm starting to wonder if corruption is a real thing that they're parodying in these movies, that it's so bad that it can be so out in the open, or if it's just a generic trope that we're gonna make our cops be corrupt. I'm not really sure, and I'll get into more of why I don't know which way it's leaning later. But so yeah, so he's corrupt cop. The whole opening's basically the first fight action scene of the movie is he's taking down these 2 criminals. But then when he takes them back to the station house in front of everybody, he's openly telling them that how much would they pay him so that to not send them to jail. They tell him this much money and blah blah blah. And then he accepts, and then he tells his police officer, like fellow police officer, he goes, now we get to go back to the person who they stole from, and we get to take some of the money that you know, from him as well, and they just go and do it, and in front of this entire family and other cops in this room, Simmba is literally saying, so how much of this gold are you going to be giving me, basically? He says, okay, so we need to catalog all of this, and I need you to prove receipts. And he goes, well, I only have receipts for half of it. And he goes, oh, only half? So is the other half stolen? You don't want to go to jail. And it's like, becomes a whole thing. And I'm very not sure. The whole thing was very jokey. And he used the word brother and sister-in-law and father and mother. He uses all these words a lot throughout the movie. I mean, I guess he's an orphan, so it's more of in a jokey way. He's calling him brother, and so then she agrees, like it becomes a thing, and then the scene ends where she does like a call me thing to him, and then he looks right at the camera and like makes like a ooh face. And so that the whole thing was extremely campy, and it stayed that way. It stayed very campy for the first hour 15 of the movie. As things just go even crazier, he gets sent he gets transferred to another station house where he's really excited because he calls it a gold mine. He's literally openly talking about how he's going to like take all the gold of this entire, like this other station house's like precinct, And he said, and you know, he's saying this to like the commissioner or whoever is above him in the police force that's transferring him. And the guy's like, do what you want, just don't cross the paths with this gangster. And like he's cool with it. He's cool, be as corrupt as you want, just don't get in the way of the gangster. And then what's the first thing he does when he gets there? He gets in the way of the gangster. He goes and he shuts down like these bars, like all these like raves and stuff, so that he could then, mind you, with all of these police officers around him, he then goes to this gangster's house. He tells him in front of these other cops, I am now your brother, you are this is my mother, you are blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna be part of this and help you so we can all make a lot more money. In front, I didn't understand. And at the same time now, there's like a love story developing where this woman who works across the street from the precinct, her dad was a cop but also ran this catering business that she now runs because he died in the line of duty, and he's falling in love with her. And then without really much development of any kind, we learn that she loves him too. And and this is all in the first hour 15 of the movie. It's very colorful. They do 3 songs with big dance sequences, and I swear the most extras I've ever seen in a movie in these scenes. And you know, I mean, I was enjoying it. I was like, okay, this is not going to be taking itself very seriously, so let's just enjoy the music, and there's some good beats, and the choreography was fun and everything else. And I was along for the ride. There was one character, though, who was basically the moral compass for Simmba throughout the first half of the movie. He was one of the other police constables who refused to take any illegal money and refused to, you know, do the wrong thing, but yet he didn't stand up and tell anybody to do the right thing, which is why, again, it kind of leans into this idea. I don't know if it's a real issue, because they made it seem like it was. And then, so now spoiler alert, and then an hour 15 or so of the movie, this character who we've learned, she's a teacher, and she and Simmba are now like their friends. And she says, he was like, oh, I had a teacher like you when I was a kid who would teach me on the streets at night. And she was like my big sister. And then she's like, well, I'm not old enough to be your big sister, but you can call me your little sister. So now it's like he has this real deep connection, even though they've only spoken once before in the movie, but now they're like brother and sister. And she's, in the meantime, there's another subplot where these gangsters are selling drugs, and it's some of her students that are helping transport the drugs around the city, which they never really make clear why that has to be, because it's very obvious the gangsters can do whatever they want. But again, this may be a real issue in India. I don't know. Are gangsters using children to smuggle drugs? You know, I don't know. But she ends up going to one of these raves and sees them like some of these like gangster people readying drugs for transportation, and she starts recording it with her phone, and then they get caught. Her and one of the children who led her there, they get caught. She starts attacking them, and they imply, without showing it, that that these two brothers of this main head gangster dude, that they attack her back, rape her, to the point where, according to the doctor in the next scene, she was raped so badly that her intestines got damaged, which was was a very shocking thing to hear. And this movie suddenly just took from this bright, colorful, like, you know, campy thing, just took a hard nosedive into brutal rape and murder that spurns the Simmba into basically, I guess, becoming a good guy now, because he finally reached the breaking point where, you know, money isn't worth it when, you know, women's lives are at risk, specifically a woman that he considered a sister. Then, as the movie progresses, we go into this courtroom scene now, because the brothers are going to be on trial. And I don't know if this is a thing that that Bollywood movies are doing now, because before this I saw 2.0 at the end of last year, and that movie had a very heavy message in the middle of it, where again that movie cut hard from like a campy actiony thing to a public service announcement about like the environment and what cell phones are doing to birds and all that kind of stuff. This one, now we're in this courtroom scene, and they're heavy, real heavy about how much of a problem rape is in India. I mean, I was starting to tear up as the character of Simmba is like on his phone on like a Crime Watch website. He's like, this is anything any of you can find. But in the last 5 years, in 2014 there were 38,000 rapes. In 2014 there were 40,000 rapes, and he just keeps going. And he goes, in the last 5 years there were 180,000 rapes in this country. And I was like, okay, so maybe this is a thing that they're doing now with these movies, where they bring in an audience with this campiness, and then they flip it into a serious issue to try to educate, I think. Because the rest of the movie, the other hour 15 of this movie, this was almost a 2.5 hour film, but the rest of this movie was basically all dedicated to trying to rile up the population about how wrong rape is, and that we need to take a stand. He literally, I mean, he's asking the different women that he knows what should be done to rapists, and they all say you should shoot them and you should kill them. And he chides the judge of this case about how you know, parents are the ones that suffer when their children do, you know, die or you know, are brutally injured because of this, and how women can't be safe at night. And then the female judge then chides the mother character of these gangsters and says that the mother is just as much to blame for not teaching her boys how to act with women, and how she is just as guilty for the fact that they had raped and murdered this girl. And the whole rest of the movie was just that. It was all about that. They still had some action stuff in there and whatever else, but they completely dropped the romance storyline. At the end of the first half, they sang a song about how they love each other, and then she was then the girl, the female character that he's in love with now, was in maybe a handful of scenes the rest of the movie. A funeral scene, the scene where everyone's being asked what would you do to rapists, and then we'll kill them. I mean, there was hardly anything left of her in the movie, and it was just weird because they seem to develop this whole thing with like they have a love story and then it's gone. So after the court stuff is done, we get back to the ham-fisted action, because the character of Simmba gets taken by the main gangster guy, who's, now his brothers are dead and this whole thing, and he takes him, he starts torturing him like he's gonna kill him, and then out of the nowhere, in through a window comes crashes in this other police officer guy who looks exactly like Simmba. The glasses, their height was the same, the mustache, the build, everything, and he starts whooping butt, then releases Simmba, who then they both go through this huge fight scene where they're just beating up on everybody. And then I laughed out loud because the fight ends and he stands right in front and he just walks up to Simmba and he goes, "I'm here to investigate the case against you." And I laughed out loud because he just did the whole thing. It was like he just fought all these guys with him who were clearly trying to, like, we're gonna kill him, and then he's like, "I'm here to investigate you." Like, what? And they never introduced this guy, so I'm not sure if we were supposed to know him coming in, because I just don't know if this is like a movie that's in a line of movies, if it's some kind of a sequel. And then again at the end, this new character is on the phone talking to another character about, he's like, "Congratulations on your promotion." Then he turns to face the camera and starts walking slowly, and then Then it zooms in on his name badge, on his name tag, and then it said, and then a little subtitle comes up, and it says, that guy's name, Vor something, takes charge in 2019. And then, of course, during the credits, you get your obligatory last dance routine and song. And it was fun, the dance routine and everything. Do I recommend this movie, though? I don't know. Again, just like with 2.0, I think that if this movie is trying to make some real valid issues become more, you know, open and discussed. So I think, like, anyone in India should see this, but it's hard to have said it was an entertaining film here in the US, because although we do have issues with major crimes and such brutality as rape, the movie isn't targeted to us in a way that we can resonate with it on that level. And also, I don't think the people that need to see it in the US would even go see it, because it's a subtitled movie. So I don't know if it's worth an American audience's time to sit through such heavy topic that this one tries to tackle. Was it a waste of time? No, it wasn't. So, you know, if you've got AMC Stubs A-List or Movie Pass or something like that, and it's been a pretty slow couple weeks at the box office, then I would say go see it. Did I like it more than Escape Room? Yes. So there's that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell so you can get notified of my future videos. Thank you if you've watched to this point. I really do appreciate it, and I would love to hear from you. I finally got a real comment from somebody on my Aquaman video, basically trying to make it sound like I was a hater, a DC hater, even though I recommended the movie. And that was cool. So more of that. I like that. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, just bring it. And I hope you have a wonderful day.